Hi there, folks. I'm Paul Kimball. You might recognize me as the host of seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Maritime Museums. And I'm back after seasons 4, 5, and 6 were taken over by Sandy McLean. Not in a bad way, like a Martian invader or something, but I stepped away from the series and Sandy stepped in, did a great job. But I'm back because this series is coming to an end. This is the final season. These are the final 2 episodes. And I wanted to Time Lord myself, kind of, into the show one more time, and like a returning David Tennant in Doctor Who, and travel back in time to the first few seasons of Maritime Museums and look at some of my favorite moments on the show. And I'll give you a clue. All of those favorite moments involve some sort of activity, because I think history is very much best when it's an interactive exercise. So here in the first episode, we're going to be at the Old Carding Mill Museum in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. We're going to be at the Glace Bay Miners Museum in, well, obviously Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, and also Fortress Louisbourg, where I may or may not get involved in some sort of puppet show. So 2 weeks, 2 episodes, 2 best of from Maritime Museums here on Eastlink Community TV for you folks at home, and also, I guess, for me, because there's nothing I like more than history, and it gives me one more chance to kind of relive some of the best experiences that I had in the show. So hopefully you enjoy, and we'll see you for the series finale next week. Ta-da! That's a terrible way. That is the worst Time Lord way to end ever. I've got to come up with a better theme song. Anyway, here we go.
This is exciting. My job is the new person at the mill.
I hope you're really truly excited for this.
This is going to be the best job I've ever had.
Luckily for you, this is not 1890.
Oh, yes. Otherwise,
Count your blessings.
I'd be
what
dead.
your job is here as a new person
Yes.
is to oil the wool.
To what? To what now? To oil the wool.
Oil the wool.
How do I oil wool?
How do you oil wool? Well, you would take, render down,
So I'd have some wool?
fat. It would be all on the floor. So you want to feel there's lanolin, but
Yeah, no,
it's still quite dry.
this is lovely.
So you would take rendered down
In that
lard
pot?
oil.
It would be in this?
It would have been in that, and you're just going to give it a light coating of oil.
It's like cooking, but not.
So, you're humming. Why are you humming?
I hum when I work.
You hum when you work.
Is that a bad thing?
We need to get, remember, the busiest season, 25,000 pounds of wool.
Yeah, chop chop. That's what. Stop humming, start working.
All right, start working.
Whoops.
Yep, start working.
I'd be a terrible employee.
So you get fired right away. No.
Why? Oh, this is horrible.
No.
I've been fired
So
already.
you're working fast. So
So-
you got lard oil. What happens with oil when you're moving fast? You're mixing it through. What are you doing?
I don't know because it's my first day
You're
in the job.
getting soaked.
Oh, I'm getting soaked. Oh, okay.
So you're saturated in oil.
Ugh. That's not good.
That's not good at all.
Although
That's not good at all.
I know how we feel because one of my crew members spilled pop on me at the restaurant over lunch, so I'm already saturated in liquid. So this is
Sticky liquid. So imagine
synchronicity.
oil.
Yeah.
Soaked in oil.
So they'd be down.
Whoa.
So they'd be.
Get on your knees.
Oh, on your knees.
Get on your knees.
All right.
She'd be down on the floor.
Oh, and what is it?
She would be mixing
so like
that
this kind of
oil.
stuff, like squish,
That's
squish,
right.
squish.
That's right.
Wow.
Move a little. Then you got to sit in. You take your wool from here.
Yep. Now that it's oiled.
That it's oiled. And you're not going to really do it.
No.
You got to put it on the picking machine.
So we go over here. Oops.
So you've got it oiled. You're going to come. Yeah, you're going to throw it on.
Oh.
This conveyor belt. It's turning to this machine.
Oh, so this was a okay, I see.
It's moving. So everything, just remember, everything is moving. Everything is
Constant
turning.
motion.
Constant motion.
Right.
These are turning. There's 2 rollers, one here and one underneath the cover.
And are they being churned by the wheel
By
downstairs?
the wheel downstairs.
Gotcha.
Yes, that's picking the dirt out. Picking machine, picking the dirt out.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Okay?
So this is
Keep
oiled
moving.
wheel
That's your
going.
job.
And that's my job.
As a new one. So now you've been here for a few months.
Yay, promotion.
There's another new girl here to work. So now you can come do another job.
Cool. So I'm getting promoted.
Okay?
Nice.
Let's promote you.
This is the fastest promotion I've ever gotten. So, okay. Now I'm on the other side of the conveyor belt.
You are. So now we're at the carding machine. So our wool's been picked. We need to card it. While carding mill, this is it right here.
This is what the mill is for.
You're going to take your wool from this hopper.
Okay.
The hopper's here. This would be full of wool. You're going to place it up here.
Yep.
Okay? This is moving 10 inches per minute.
Wow. Okay.
Towards the machine. You do have time. You need to make sure that your wool is level.
Okay.
So you see, if this is not level, this is not good.
So
make your wool level.
Would you push it down with your hand, or would you use these things?
You could take some out, put some in.
Oh, I see.
Make sure that it's level.
So it's like positioning sandwich meat on my sandwich.
That's right.
Basically,
You want to make sure it's feeding in.
So the cheese will fit on top.
Now, the other thing you need to do is make sure there's no holes. There's a hole here and a hole here.
All right.
Fill in the hole.
One right up here, too.
Fill in the hole.
So we fill in the hole, because this is my first day in my new job.
So already, you've probably injured yourself.
Because the thing's moving.
Remember that it's moving. You had your hands up here. These are turning.
God, this is like industrial arts in junior high school. I would be the guy who cut his finger off.
That's right. These machines don't have brakes.
Right.
There's no way to stop it. If you're stuck in there, remember, you're stuck there until someone can go over, shut off the water power for the water wheel downstairs.
Right.
Wait for that wheel to stop turning, for these machines to stop turning.
I am a hot mess when it comes to wool carding. So I've just lost my hand, or at least two or three of my fingers.
Other than
did
that,
they have
you're
workers'
good.
comp back in those days?
No. No.
So what would happen?
Do you want to know what our fear was back in 1860?
Yeah, what?
Of losing our mill to burning, to fire.
Right, makes sense.
Because there are fire hazards here. You could easily get another girl.
Right.
Couldn't easily get another mill.
Mill, yeah.
Yes.
So were there do the records show that there would have been a lot of accidents?
No records of any accidents in this mill.
That's exactly the kind of thing, as an owner, I would make sure went in the books. Yeah. 800 years of no accidents or whatever. So, okay, do this.
All right, you're feeding, you're good. So it's going through.
Don't put my hands up there again.
Right, we're going through.
Now, I'm sensing these things are going to be involved somehow.
Not with the actual production for the carding mill itself. This here we can do later on.
Later, if I get promoted again.
If you get promoted again.
The one-handed mill worker.
It would be great. So, you're coming, you fed it properly, I hope.
Yes.
So your wool's coming through as one sheet. You have carding cylinder, the big one inside. Can you, if we can see that, it's very dark in here.
Can I, is this going to hurt me? Is this how I?
You can touch right now because where it is a museum piece.
Yeah, I do see it. But as an employee, you wouldn't stick your head in there.
You wouldn't be anywhere.
No.
You would be
back here.
Way back, hopefully. But again, it's been quite a few years, since 1968, since these have operated.
It is amazing to think I was born in 67. This thing was still operating when I was 1 year old.
Yeah,
wow.
50 years. So that's turning to the right, 7 feet per second.
7 feet per second. Wow. Okay, so that's really moving.
That's moving fast. That's moving fast. Little rollers on top are called workers, and the smaller ones yet are called strippers, turning to the left in the opposite direction. Simply put, carding is combing the wool.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what it's just on a much bigger scale.
I've been working in the morning sun. Holy moly!
Nice.
Now that is cool.
That is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
That it's just being moved by water. It's, in a mechanical era where everything we have are robots and this and that.
It is.
To just see the basic primal way that for thousands of years people would do stuff. So here we are at the Mi'kmaq exhibit, this building here, sort of telling the story of the folks that were here before the French got here, the original inhabitants. And we're here with Lindsay and Haley here today. And I don't know who this is. I don't want to ruin the punchline, the story, the mystery, but we have some other friends on some chairs behind us. And as I understand it, Lindsay, what you're going to do today is tell a traditional Aboriginal story that relates to these animals that we're seeing here, that goes along with your culture.
Yep.
And what's the nature of that story?
The nature of the story is just all our stories, our Indigenous stories, our stories always have a message in them. There's a lesson every one. So our stories were a means by which we transferred our knowledge from the elders to the young ones through fires, sitting around campfires and talking and passing along the oral culture. And the oral culture is so important because that was something that's been with us for thousands and thousands of years. So our stories go back a long, long time. And one of these stories is how this rabbit changed history.
Okay, so this is a rabbit. It might at the moment look to you a bit like a goat, actually, or a kangaroo, but it's a rabbit, and we're going to see why it becomes a
keep
rabbit.
in mind that those animals are not indigenous to this area, so
No.
it's still a rabbit. It's a rabbit.
It's definitely a rabbit, but at the moment it doesn't look like one. And there's one characteristic of this rabbit that looks a little different, and we're going to find out how that changed, and then the message that comes out of it. And you're quite right. When I was a young history student, oral research methodology, all cultures, long before the written word, across the world, that's how the traditions and the knowledge was moved from generation to generation. So it's a very important part of historiography and of keeping those sort of traditions alive. So it's great to be able to be a part of this, especially with all our cute little friends here. So I'm holding the rabbit, but otherwise I'm just going to be quiet. And here we go.
So I'll begin by saying I'm going to be playing the drum for just for my own comfort, because I like doing it. And it helps me with the story. So I'll begin by saying saw, 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 which means a long, long, long time ago this happened. A long time ago, saw, saw, saw. Our word for rabbit is abligamuch. Now, abligamuch, he's a trickster. He loves to play tricks. This rabbit, one day, had an idea. His idea was to cause chaos in his village. So what the rabbit saw, he noticed that the moon seemed closer and closer than it usually is. And so what does he say? He says, I have an idea. I am going to tell the others the sky's falling. And if the sky's falling, they'll get scared. They'll get scared and they'll act silly. Make me laugh. So, what does he do? He goes up to the beaver, and tells the beaver, hey, beaver, did you look at the moon? The sky's falling. Oh, the beaver got excited. The beaver got scared. And he said, what should we do? Oh, I don't know, but I think we should get ready. We have to do stuff, get ready, make clothing, bring food. Oh, the beaver got busy as a beaver. Beaver was working hard. The beaver was working hard. And what does he do? The beaver turns and tells the raccoon. He says, I just found out the sky's falling. We have to do something. I'm getting ready. I'm scared. What? The sky's falling? Yes, beaver says. Oh, raccoon says, oh my goodness, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home. So he goes home, but before he goes home, he runs into the porcupine. The porcupine is there. Hey, porcupine. Hey, raccoon. What's going on? Well, the sky's falling and I'm going home because I'm scared. I'm going to do work. I got to go work. I got to work. I got to go. Porcupine got concerned. Oh, wow, wait. But he was gone, so he heard a sheep. So, he heard a sheep again. And one day, the very same day, Glooskap notices all the people working hard. So Glooskap says, I want everyone to gather. I want everyone to meet. I want us to talk. He tells the wolf to gather everyone. And the wolf goes and gathers everyone. And in a circle they stand. Glooskap turns to the animals. He said, what's wrong? Why are you ignoring me? He said, haven't you heard the sky is falling? What? The sky is falling? Oh no, the sky is falling. Who said that? He turned to the wolf. Who said that? The wolf said, the bear said it. Glooskap asked the bear, who said it? Bear says, Porcupine said. Glooskap asked Porcupine, who said it? Porcupine says, the raccoon did it. Raccoon says, Glooskap, who did it? He said, the beaver told me. And the beaver, Glooskap asked the beaver, who told you? It was the rabbit, but the rabbit could not be found anywhere. The rabbit was hiding in the forest. And he was laughing. He was laughing. He was having fun. He was eating strawberries and laughing. And so what does he do? He hides some more in Glooskap. Glooskap looks around. Glooskap has special power. He can see through rocks and trees and mountains. And he sees the rabbit hiding. He sees the rabbit hiding. And he turns to the rabbit. He said, you are the one who told this untruth, did you? He said, yes, I did. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Sorry. I'll tell you what. I'm going to do something that you will never forget. He takes the rabbit by the ears and he pulls the rabbit's ears. And the rabbit's ears grew. And Glooskap tells him, from this moment on, your ears will be long because you must hear the truth. The moral of the story is always tell the truth.
That's right, Rabbit. I was thinking this was the one job I could handle, stay here and open the door for people. But if you're in the dark with just a candle,
Well, yeah.
I don't even want that.
Well, then you don't know what's going to come around because, you know, when you're underground and the horses and the feed and all that, of course, there was lots of rats. Okay? So if you want to stay, you're more than welcome.
This just gets better and better.
All right.
Let me tell you, folks, I'm just under 6 feet tall. I am like really crouching down here, and you really get a feel for just how cramped this would have been. Still haven't hit my head though.
I heard that.
Well, who was that? Colin?
Yeah.
Bryony? Noah? Yes. There we go. It's like the Stations of the Cross. You just want to get to a place where you can sort of stop and kind of...
Now, guys, well, this is how a horse would be, or a pony would be hooked up to a box. And the box weighed, it weighed a ton, and they would load 2 tons of coal in here. So this horse or pony would have to take it out. There would be a track laid like this here out through the mine, okay?
Right.
Of course, now they had to be led in and out. So, and who would do that? The boys, when they got a bit older and they could get around the mine by themselves, they would be the drivers, okay? And so the drivers would come down and they would go, the first place they would be heading would be the stables. Like they had stables down here and they used to keep all the horses in the stables, like 40 or 50, like where Fred is at right here, little stalls like that. And the driver would come in and he would take his horse. There'd be a guy in here looking after them. That was his job.
Right.
And he fed them and watered them and fed them. And they fed them oats and hay. And the only time they'd feed them the oats would be a half an hour before their shift to give them some extra energy.
Fair enough.
So they had names on all their horses. Right. The drivers, they used to like to use the same horse day after day after day because, and they used to bring out treats to their horse all the time.
Right.
Because, well, your pay is going to depend how many boxes of coal that horse is going to haul out for you, because now you're on contract.
Right.
Okay, you're not getting paid. you're going to have to get paid. You're going to get paid by every box of coal that you take out. Okay, so
So work harder, Fred.
yeah.
All right, where are we now? This
Okay.
place actually has some lighting.
Yeah, now, but you wouldn't have this light back in them days that
In the
we're
old
talking
days,
about.
yeah.
This here is a typical little room where two miners would actually be doing the mining in here, okay? And if you were one of them miners, you'd be working with your buddy. And you picked your own buddy because you're on contract.
Okay.
And some guys work together for 20 years. They would drive this room, and when they finish in here, they go down, they drive another one. So some guys work together for 20 years. Now, sometimes that'd be father and son, or brothers, or family. So you and your buddy would come in here in the morning. Well, I know what my buddy used to do. We'd sit down first, and we'd have a quick sandwich out of our lunch can before we start.
Right.
And while we're having our sandwich, you probably see the mining examiner coming through. And he, like I told you up top, he'd have a lock flame safety lamp, and he'd come in here. Everybody would have to turn out their lights to be complete blackness. Right. And he'd turn this little flame down in the lamp, and he'd hold it up, and he'd walk in along. Now, the gas I'm talking about is lighter than there, so it'd always be along the roof. Mm-hmm. And he would walk in here, and he'd be checking it out, okay? But years ago, they never had that luxury. So, well, I told you up top, well, you know what they use? Canaries.
Oh.
So they take a little canary down, put them in a cage, put the cage on the stick, and they would hold a little canary up and walk in with him. This is what they had to rely on to, okay?
So if I was a mine inspector, the guy that was looking, be like, okay, still alive, still alive.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
And then you'd raise the alarm like everybody
you
else.
better not go in there, guys. You better
Okay.
get some air in here and get our place flushed out.
I think we're in trouble because that canary doesn't look good.
Well, no, look, he's good. He's back again.
He's fine. We're okay.
Yeah, okay, we're okay. But now, guys, this here would be the only machine that would be available to you back in them days.
Right.
And this is a radio machine. This come over from England. They tell me around 1896.
Okay.
It's driven by compressed air. And the compressors will be on the surface. The air will be piped down to you. You and your buddy would have to set it up. Now, you got it all cut. You got it drilled. And now you got to get it blasted. Okay?
Blasted.
Blasted.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do the blasting. A shot fire would.
Okay.
The shot fire was the only guy who was allowed to carry the detonators. You had to carry your powder down. And you carried that down in a little can like this here. And of course, you had to buy this. Like back in the earlier days, the old coal companies, they give you nothing.
Right.
So you had to buy everything. You had to buy your powder, your pick, your axe, your shovels, everything that you see, they would have to buy it. And of course, where would they have to buy it at? Be the company store.
Right.
So the shot fire comes in, he takes your powder, punches a hole in the plugs, puts them, fills up all the holes, connects all the cables, the wires together, runs a big long cable out up into a crosscut, and then everybody would go out, and then you would hear him hollering, "Fire!" You hear boom. And now when you walk in, there'd be a big cloud of coal dust be coming out to meet you, and there'd be a big pile of coal here.
Right.
And your job now would be to get that coal in the box with a shovel, and this is what we used.
I was going to ask, these are the shovels that they were using, right?
Yeah, number 9 pan shovels.
So how heavy, can I see one of them here? Let's
Yeah.
see how heavy these things.
And
Wow, that's actually a heavy shovel. So
yeah, but coal is not heavy, eh? Coal is only light.
Oh,
So
really?
That's why they used a big shovel like that.
because they can take a lot of it.
Yeah, the more you got on the shovel, the less times you had to pick it up. And,
Right.
Okay.
Fair
So
enough.
now you got the coal in the box, but now you got to identify your coal because there's more than you loading coal down here. So there's going to be a pile of coal going up. How are we going to figure out whose is whose? Well, what you do, you put a little tally on it, right? Today we got tally 4, so we tie this on our box. And when that box gets to the surface, the guy weighing the coal up there, Jack Wayman, he's going to weigh it and he's going to mark by our numbers how many tons is in it. That's how we're getting paid.
Oh, okay. So I see 2 little friends over there in a lunchbox.
Yeah, like I told you before, down there below, there was all kinds of rats running around here. So they would have your lunch gone on you if you didn't bring it down in a can.
Right.
And here's your water, but there's no water bottle, no drinking water down there. You had to bring your own water down. So back in them days, this is what they used, little copper cans like you see here. Wow. Right?
So when they would come down, they come down hundreds of feet. They'd have to bring their lunchbox, their water, everything.
And their powder.
The powder.
Yeah, and you would have to carry that in. Sometimes you'd have to walk in maybe a mile or 2 miles. And you'd have your lunch can, your powder can, and your water bottle, and any gear that you had to take down that day, your axe or anything like that, you would be carrying that in. Yeah, and then And of course, after you shot the coal, of course, now there's nothing holding the roof up. So
Okay.
you got it now. You probably work your way in about 2 feet, and you'd stop, and then you would have to set this boom up. Okay, you set that on a jack. You measure this, and you cut this timber with a buck saw. You cut that timber. You wedge it up nice and tight, and you continue on another 2 feet, put another one up.
Wow.
And if you didn't do that, she's going to fall in on top of you.
Right.
And guess what? You never got paid to do that. You're only getting paid for the coal. We used to call this dead work, right? They give you the lumber, but you had to put it up.
So they at least gave you the lumber.
They give you the lumber for free, and they give you the canary for free, because they figured if they didn't give you the lumber for free, some guys would take a chance to maybe come in, bury, lose their section.
Right.
The canary, they take a chance, blow their pit up, they lose, and that's why.
Yeah.
Not because they liked you or anything like that, but
It was in their own self-interest to make
Yes.
sure that the production kept going.
yeah.